area?
Compton.
Coming
home.
Compton. Compton's your home, and Dominguez High School, and went to UCLA.
Right.
That's great. I think that's why the mayor favored you, you know. But no, let's hear your passion. You have a great background. You have an understanding, and we look forward to full confirmation in front of the City Council.
Thank you, Councilman. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak before your committee today. I've been in the library profession about 32 years now as a professional librarian. After UCLA, I went to library school in another state, but I'm back here in California. My experience is varied, but I think most significantly is I've run large urban libraries in the past. The most significant position I had that's comparable to Los Angeles is the Brooklyn Public Library in New York City. We had 59 branches and a central library there, and we were one of 3 libraries in the city of New York, and it was run like a nonprofit. I'm not suggesting that here necessarily, but it was very similar to the issues that I raised in running an urban library.
Great. And you're familiar with Los Angeles because having your knowledge as someone growing up in here. What was your favorite book? I forgot to tell you mine.
Well, as a young boy, I was kind of small in stature, and I really enjoyed E.B. White's Stuart Little, because I somewhat saw him as kind of the similar to growing up in a big city and having to challenge because of his size. So that was my favorites.
It's, you know, recently they put all the people. Mine was Mike Mulligan and the Steam Shovel. So it's, you know, old school, and he built the town of Popperville. So in the town hall, and when they dug the hole, did you know that, Madam Clerk? When they dug the hole there, Mike and the Steam Shovel did all 4 corners. Didn't have a way out, so the Steam Shovel became the heating for the town hall. So, well, listen, we're looking forward to you to come to full council. Every member of City Council is passionate about our library system. You have a tremendous staff, and I think it's real important that we should recognize Chris Morita right now. Chris, stand up, please, and give her a little. She's the intern. And so you've got big shoes to fill.
Yes.
And I think it will help Los Angeles have this transition of a focus and ever-changing dynamic of public library systems and continue to get public support. They have a tremendous foundation. They have tremendous friends groups, but there's more we need to do. So thank you for coming to committee.
Thank you.
And when you go to full council, the deputy mayor will bring you in and we'll introduce you to the rest of the council members and give you a little more time to learn about, for all of us to learn about you, as well as we thank the mayor for your position of new city librarian for Los Angeles. Thank you
very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. See you, Chris. See you, Peter. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Okay, do we have any cards on that one? Yeah. We're going to hold 2 for a moment, just so everybody could come who may want to come. Number 3.
Number 3 is a report from the LA for Kids Steering Committee relative to allocations and reallocations of Proposition 12 and 40 funds.
Cheryl Bernard from the CLA's office. The item before you today is the LA for Kids Steering Committee report relative to the allocation and reallocation of $6,980,707 in various Proposition 12 and 40 funds for various projects throughout the city. The steering committee approved the allocation and reallocation of the funds at the December 18, 2008, March 26, 2009, and May 28, 2009 steering committee meetings. The allocation and reallocation of the funds do not impact the funding for the projects. They simply maximize the use of the state funds. The steering committee recommends approval of this item.
Great. Well, I think we should go forward with that. And all members of council got a copy of this report, do you know? Yeah, if you could just make sure they do that so they know what is happening in their projects. Recommend approval?
Thank you.
Great. And is any cards for item number 3?
There are none.
None. Okay.
Those are all for 2.
2. These are all for 2.
All for 2.
All for 2. All right. Item number 4.
Item number 4 is a Department of Aging report relative to accepting a grant award of $20,000 for the extension of the digital TV transition project.
Okay, we'll accept that grant, and we know that things are working out, at least from what they report.
They're working out very well. Actually, since June 12th, they've had triple the number of calls for seniors who want to get this converter box. There are a lot of challenges that seniors are having.
with cable companies too, because the cable companies are saying that in order to get the signal, you should sign up with the cable companies. But the thing about it is that seniors are on fixed incomes, and so when they raise their rates, that becomes a challenge. So the work we're doing is education and assessment of their situation to make sure that seniors are taken care of properly.
Very good. Thank you so much. Recommend approval. Item 5.
Item 5 is the CAO report relative to an agreement with EPT Design for as-needed landscape architectural design.
Emily Maeda with the Office of the CAO. Before you is the CAO report recommending the approval and execution of supplemental agreement number 1 to contract number 3027 with EPT Design for landscape architectural design services to complete the Sheldon Arleta Park project and other projects. The proposed supplemental agreement extends the term of the contract by 5 years, from 6 years to 11 years, and increases the maximum compensation by $500,000 from $600,000 to $1.1 million. Funding is provided in each project's budget. The proposed agreement is in compliance with the city's financial policies. The CAO recommends approval.
Thank you very much. We'll recommend approval as well. Next item.
Thank you. Item number 6 is a motion, Alarcon Carnes, relative to requesting the Department of Recreation and Parks to report with a schedule of opening dates for pools and on the notification process when pools remain closed.
Good afternoon, Councilman.
Good afternoon, Mr. Reagan.
Good
Thank you. Kevin Regan, Assistant General Manager, Recreation and Parks. I'm here with Mary Bingham, who heads up our entire aquatics division. It's a pleasure to see you.
Mary, how long have you been with us?
Yeah. Go ahead and answer all your
With
questions.
the department?
Yeah,
28 years.
28 years, a long time. How long have you been, Kevin?
29 and a half
29
years.
and a half, yeah.
Getting there.
That's
But
good.
with the furlough days, I'm not sure, you know.
Oh, they're all the same. Just, we got to be lucky to have a job, but we got to figure out how to get through it without trying to
And I feel lucky every
yeah, it's just a
working
tough
for the city.
time, I know, especially for those people who work in the park system, because your parks are going to be, just having a librarian in our office, because there's no summer school, there'll be more activities in libraries, the same in parks.
That's right.
But I know you for many, many years, known Kevin for many, many years, and his father was a great Los Angeles police officer. But I think if your father was here today, Kevin, he'd say, son, how many pools are going to be closed, and how many kids are we going to disappoint?
He'd probably tell me to get back to work, but anyway, I'm going to ask Mary to answer all your questions, Councilman. She has all the answers here.
Sure. This summer, we're going to be operating 48 seasonal and year-round pools.
Right.
We have 6 that are going to be closed: Westchester, Reseda, Van Ness, and we have 3 that are already been closed: Gaffey, Fremont, and what's the other one? Downey. And Downey is in construction at this time.
Right,
Pretty
so
much.
we have 54 pools in the city?
We have a total of 60. I didn't include the out-of-state, out-of-city limits, the camp pools.
Okay,
But those are pools that are in the city limits.
And we operate some on joint use with LAUSD, so
Right.
if you include all of the out-of-town pools that are at the camps, as well as all of the joint use agreements, it's a total of 60.
Jess, out of the 48 pools, are the 3 at the girls' camp counted as one of the 48? And the boys' camp?
The girls' camp is not counted because we're looking at special programmings, but the girls' camp, the boys' camp, so we're looking at approximately 51.
51 pools.
And hopefully, after we fill them, and most of them are being filled right now, we
Right.
won't have any problems with leaks.
Right.
And if that's the case, we'll open up.
And there's a drainage challenge?
The drain challenge has been, our staff has done a really great job in getting most of those done. We have 3 pools that'll be delayed. That's Rustic Canyon, Cheviot Hills, and Pecan. They'll open 1 week later. Pecan may be July 1.
Right. I know Mr. Reardon introduced the free pools for children, and I tried to say you had to have a library card to get in, at least to try to get a 2-for-1, but it didn't happen at the time. How is the free pools for children?
The Recreation Swim, free swim is done really great. We have over 800,000 kids in our programs. Last year, with the library card, there were over 40,000 adults who visited us.
So we do implement the library card, you get in for free.
Yes, we do,
For the adults.
for the
Yeah.
adults.
Kids still, it's
Kids are free.
from babies all the way up to age 17, get in for free.
Right, but if I'm a 22-year-old adult and I have a library card, do I get in for free?
You pay $2.
$2. Is that what I implemented a few years ago? I'm trying to
I
remember.
think you
When the
implemented
program,
free.
yeah, when the program.
Free, I went
started,
free, but then you went $2 on me.
Right.
Right, okay.
Trying to
right.
save a few
They-
jobs.
Yeah, that's all right, I understand that. Well, it's good, make sure everybody knows about this. I know this is a big week. I guess the first pool opening is on
Friday
Friday, where?
at Jackie Tatum Harvard
Okay, good.
Center.
It's Friday, not Saturday?
It's Friday. There's a grand opening ceremony on Friday
Right.
at 1 p.m.
Right, at 1 PM. And then
Kind of our
I-
kickoff, but then obviously the pools will open citywide.
Right, I was gonna, you've really done a great job at Gardner Street Playground, the old West Wilshire Park. So we'll talk to you about that. I may want to do something there. So thank you very much. Make sure a simple two-sheet memo to council members is distributed. There's 48 pools opening and operational. They're gonna go through Labor Day,
Yes.
and not counting the pools that are year-round.
And we do have
Just tell them, because
seven.
everybody's interested in the pools, because it's a place to go.
You're going to talk about the Kaiser.
Well, I believe the general manager sent letters to each of the council
Right.
members
Well,
indicating.
Mr. Reagan, you'll check on that to make sure it happened, right? Did that happen?
Right, because I remember writing the letter, so yeah.
Right.
We did.
You remember it going out, that's the key. I remember writing letters, but sometimes it doesn't always go out.
We do have Kaiser who will be sponsoring 7 extended pools this summer until September 13th.
And then we have a motion from Mr. Alacon about the Richie Valens pool. Are you familiar with this motion here? Madam Clerk, to give this to...
I'm sorry, Councilman, we're not familiar with the motion.
Is it the notification?
It's the, item number 6.
The notification to the council offices. Currently, what we do, if there's an issue where the pool is going to be closed for extended period of time, we do call the council office. If it's one day, a couple of hours because of a fecal incident or emergency, we usually don't call them unless we know that it's going to be closed for more than one day or a couple of
Right.
hours.
And you've answered Mr. Alacon's question on that issue there? You can look at that. Is Mr. Alacon's deputy here? No. Could you stop by his office on the way and just,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're correct, Councilman. I think what we could do is make a special effort to reach out to Councilmember Alarcon to answer
right,
this in
make sure
particular.
that they did that, so they know that. So we go forward. Also, one other thing, on Griffith Park Pool, I want to create that pool to be a year-round pool, historic building, get solar panels to try to heat it. I don't know how many solar panels it take to heat. More than what would be simple? Or do you know?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I'll get DWP involved, because, Mulholland lived right near there.
Right.
And I think you could always invoke the name of Mulholland and try to get something out of DWP, for the good of the people. So thank you very much, and you'll report back on that. I'll look at you, Mr. Reagan, on the year-round aspect of the Griffith Park Pool, Riverside, and Los Feliz. What does the councilman of the district need to do to make it go year-round? Because I know there's some renovation that needs to take place at the pool house, and it's historic and all of those challenges.
Okay,
Maybe we could meet out there. Would you make a point in the next 30 days?
sure, we can get Mike Scholl out there.
Yeah. Want you there too, Mr. Reagan. I want you there too. I don't see enough of you. Thank you. Mary, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you, Councilman.
Okay. Next item.
Item number 7 is a motion, Labange Parks, relative to identifying funds to upgrade the fire protection system located at the Greek Theater.
Good afternoon, Councilmember Bernice Hollins, Office of the CAO. Your motion asks that the CAO identify funding for this project. However, we need a cost estimate prepared. We've been coordinating with your staff and suggest that the motion be amended to instruct DWP to provide a cost estimate for this project and also to identify potential funding sources. At that time, we would be able to then assess moving this forward.
We'll move on that. You swept an account there a year ago that was extra money sitting there from the renovation and expansion of the observatory.
Yes.
This particular is a above-ground pump that's as big as square from U to Y, and a chain link fence right in the middle of a grassy area that doesn't make sense. So I will identify the funds that we swept a couple years ago that may be swept down to sea, but at least from a starter's point. And if you could prepare for me, just email me what you just said, so I could direct a letter to Water and Power to ask them to give us the estimate, because I believe it's their infrastructure.
Yes.
It's their water system that serves the Observatory for Fire Protection. Thank you so much.
Certainly.
Good afternoon. Okay, next item.
Next item is item number 2. And item number 2 is a city attorney report and an ordinance in response to a motion Smith-Zine relative to amending the Los Angeles Municipal Code to prohibit smoking in outdoor dining areas
Right.
and within 10 feet of such areas.
Super. Could I have the city attorney make a presentation?
Mr. Chair, David Schulman for the City Attorney's Office. The ordinance you've requested would amend the city's primary no smoking law, LAMC Section 4150. The first thing it would do would be to amend the definition section to enumerate the existing definitions so that we could then add a new definition 7, outdoor dining area. It then amends Section 4150B, which is the listing of places in the city where smoking is prohibited, to add a new location where smoking is prohibited, outdoor dining areas, and within 10 feet thereof. It establishes a 6-month public education grace period, as was requested. It also adjusts the permanent no smoking requirements for signage of the municipal code to meet the particular needs of outdoor dining areas. That's an overview. The particulars are that, unlike the other local ordinances we reviewed, our office identified 3 definitions to cover a variety of outdoor dining areas. And we understand that the chair in particular has some robust thoughts about outdoor dining areas. What we hope is that we've presented a frame that, should this committee or the council at large want to adjust it, is adjustable. We've identified outdoor dining areas in 3 ways. The first is the typical area one normally thinks of, the outdoor patio of a hotel or a restaurant. The second is an area that we do not see necessarily addressed by other ordinances, but which is becoming increasingly predominant in the city, and that is outdoor food court areas. The important thing about imposing a no smoking area for an outdoor food court from a procedural perspective is that the person in control of the outdoor food court may well be a different person than any of the nearby businesses that are providing food or drink to people who regularly dine there. So we constructed this to impose appropriate duties for public education, both on the nearby businesses during the grace period and on the person who controls the outdoor dining area. Similarly, when it comes time at the end of the grace period to put up the permanent no smoking signs, that burden is on the person with control of the outdoor dining area. And then the third outdoor dining area we identified are either mobile dining areas like food catering trucks or food kiosks or food carts, or very small dining areas, places where food or drink are regularly sold that don't have their own seating, like a little kiosk. We identified a 30-foot radius around that kind of business as the no smoking area. And it also means that with the additional 10 feet, remember, we prohibit smoking within 10 feet of an outdoor dining
Right.
area. It means that in some, for those kinds of outdoor dining areas, there's a 40-foot radius.
Let me ask you a question. This is enforced by Building and Safety or Fire Department?
The enforcement mechanism is not something that we reviewed specifically for this. The enforcement mechanism is the same as all of the other no smoking prohibitions in 4150.
Keith Park and Victor Franco Jr. I want to make general comments. Could you speak?
Thank you, Councilmember. Appreciate the opportunity to speak here today. We are generally supportive of what's before you. We have been working with the maker of the motion, Councilmember Smith, for a number of months and trying to come up, as you all know, some type of compromise that would allow for smoking of cigars or folks who enjoy a cigar at local establishments. And for the most part, in the exemption section, that was definitely covered by the city attorney, and we appreciate that. However, there was some parts or a couple pieces that were missed. And this is something that, again, agreement that we'd worked out with the council office, the maker of the motion. First was that in a restaurant, we had proposed that smoking be banned in the restaurant in general, in an outdoor dining area. However, in some cases, there are restaurants that morph into a bar or nightclub activity as permitted by their own CUP. Not all restaurants are allowed to do that, only restaurants that are permitted so by their CUP. And so we would like those establishments added to the exemptions. Again, restaurants that move into a nightclub or lounge atmosphere that are more alcohol related, not necessarily, and food is a secondary condition, but again, as permitted by their CUP. The second part of this that we are very concerned about is the idea of signage. While we do agree that, and we would support the non-smoking and the prohibition of smoking during these dining hours and the signage out there, we felt that, especially in this restaurant or bar activity in which smoking is permitted at a certain period of time, when it's 18 and over, when there's carding activity going on, that smoking is allowed. However, all the signage says no smoking. And so there is smoking allowed at a certain period of time, but yet the signage throughout the entire day would say no smoking. So we would suggest that we would work on the signage issue to say that smoking is allowed or permitted during certain business hours. That would be something that we would add and include the international non-smoking symbol, but again, smoking permitted during certain periods of time of business.
Thank you. Keith Park.
Committee Chairman Lavange, thank you for letting me speak today. And also, I would like to thank Office of Council Member Greg Smith and, of course, this committee to work with the anti-smoking group and Greg Smith office to formulate a policy which will make both parties happy. And I think our group made a lot of concessions, and we did reach a compromise which both parties agreed. And this compromise really, make enjoying cigars in an outdoor patio area very, very restrictive.
Right.
But I don't know what happened, but the ordinance drawn up by City Attorney's Office, it does not include some of the compromise we made. And I would like to ask the committee and Committee Chair Lavange whether we can have an opportunity to revise this ordinance so that the compromises are included. And, because this compromise makes smoking very restrictive, it really takes care of a lot of concerns by anti-smoking group. At the same time, when the Southern California economy is in a deep recession, we allow some of the cigar smokers to come out Friday night, 10 o'clock, and sit at the patio, order some drinks, and enjoy their cigars without harming anybody. And the business owners will have a choice. Places such as Koreatown, it has a lot of cafe and restaurants and bars, and it just makes everybody happy, and it's good for the economy as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, those with no check, I'll go with no check, but I think it's probably there. Janice Chow from the American Cancer Society. Do you want to check in favor of it? Okay.
Thank you.
Good. And also Dean Schwartz, if you could. Robert Berger.
Good afternoon, Councilmember Labange. I am Janice Chow here with the American Cancer Society. And with Los Angeles City's previous passage of various tobacco control policies protecting people from secondhand smoke, like smoke-free beaches, parks and farmers markets, a smoke-free outdoor dining policy is the next logical step. Lung cancer is the leading cause of preventable cancer deaths, and thousands of non-smokers in the United States are going to die this year due to lung cancer caused by secondhand smoke exposure. Many more people will die due to problems relating to respiratory illnesses, those who are sensitive to secondhand smoke like the elderly and youth, whose bodies are still developing and are also especially vulnerable to the proven health hazards of secondhand smoke exposure. For a tobacco control policy to be effective in protecting the health of the public, it must be strong, clear, and written well to maximize protection for all. Although this ordinance is not ideal because of the exemptions, it is a good step forward that the American Cancer Society supports. We look forward to working together with you for the passage of this ordinance.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Tom.
Good afternoon.
I'm Dean Schwartz, a citizen and a business owner, a restaurant owner in specific. I really feel that we need to be very careful in drafting this law that we make sure that it's not up for interpretation, that businesses can't arbitrarily morph into an entity which can adopt to have smoking at any point. The proposal to allow an exemption for bars, nightclubs, if we can tailor the legislation to lock into that, an example, the 42, 40, 48, and
47, 47, whatever, the 47, 49, the liquor,
well, 47 would be a restaurant.
Whatever it is, yeah, but I know what you mean.
48 is just 21 and over only, or no minors allowed.
Right.
So that 42, 48, and 61 specifically state no minors allowed. If we do not
Let me just hold the time right there, will you?
Mm-hmm.
May I ask an important question for the gentleman? The designations by ABC, are you familiar with those designations?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's something we can look into. Continue the time. Thank you.
Okay. By tying it into some kind of definable license, something easily recognizable on the wall, not a situation where we're going to have to go down or the enforcement's going to have to go down a checklist and pull CUP and to see who's just arbitrarily morphing into it whenever they decide that they want to turn smoking. It's very important. So the community is wholeheartedly behind moving forward with the law, which will protect the citizens. It's very important that it's not up for abuse, and that's a situation that I've encumbered, and I am encumbering now, that it's up for interpretation of what really is. So having a fine line, and I think it's pretty generous, the exemption that has been presented for the 21 and over establishments only.
Very good.
But one thing I want to say is that the advocates here, we're your A-team. We're going to be there for you when you get this to City Council. We're going to be supporting. We're not going to leave you at the altar. So we came in force to also show you that we're here with you.
Good. Appreciate that.
We're not going away.
No.
Good
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Berger. I'm here representing the American Lung Association of California. I'm frankly, well, first of all, I wanted to commend council and the city attorney's office for coming back with an ordinance that does reflect a long process. And frankly, I'm kind of shocked to hear that there are folks sitting in this room that don't feel that this reflects a very long process. There were compromises made, concessions in terms of bars, private events, 18 plus versus 21 plus, the 6-month grace period. We feel we've come a long way in accepting this still as being significant move forward, but things we wouldn't normally, these exemptions are not things we're happy with. To further weaken what Mr. Schulman has drafted would really risk losing our support and our enthusiasm for this, so we hope it can move forward. We had suggested, actually, the chair had brought up the idea of the ABC codes, and we're fine with that. That's not here, but the way it's drafted does clearly define a bar, a nightclub versus a restaurant. So the spirit, we feel, is captured here. So we hope that this doesn't get weaker. I think you've seen with the FDA moves to further regulate tobacco, major cities like Boston doing outdoor dining, the entire state of Maine just passed an ordinance, that we won't get a weaker policy than what's in front of us today. So we are supportive with the draft as presented.
As presented. Thank you very much. Ms. Lopez? Stephen Gallegos? Stephen, did I say that correctly? No, but close enough. You correct me. Gallegos. Gallegos. I apologize, Stephen. How long have we known each other?
Too long.
Yeah. Esther Schiller. Esther Schiller. So all come up, please.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair Labange. My name is Alicia Lopez, and I am the recent past chair of the Coalition for Tobacco-Free Los Angeles County, and I'm also the program director of the Tobacco Prevention Program of Valley Community Clinic. I wanted to take a moment on behalf of the coalition and the clinic to applaud your leadership in the effort to adopt a smoke-free outdoor dining policy in Los Angeles, which will create a healthier outdoor dining experience for residents and visitors alike. As a mother, I know I will definitely appreciate the option to sit out on the patio with my daughter and enjoy a meal at a local restaurant without the exposure to harmful secondhand smoke. Also, it would be wonderful to save my daughter from being exposed to the behavior of smoking in outdoor dining, which very well may contribute to her possibly starting the habit later on as a teen. As a May 12, 2008 article in the Los Angeles Times reported, smoking bans in restaurants significantly deter kids from becoming smokers, according to a study conducted by the Boston University School of Public Health, which saw a 40% decrease in the likelihood of teens smoking in towns that ban smoking in restaurants. It's wonderful that this committee has a vested interest in the health of Los Angeles residents and visitors, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Gallegos.
Thank you. My name is Stephen Gallegos. I'm currently the chair of the Coalition for Tobacco-Free Los Angeles County. And let me state the obvious for the record and for the ordinance proposed. Nobody likes tobacco smoke, and no one wants to be exposed to it, not even people who smoke. Even though they say the product is legal, you'll never hear them say it's safe. City council after city council in California and in Los Angeles County, 13 in all, are passing ordinances banning smoking in outdoor dining venues. In January 2006, the California Air Resources Board identified secondhand smoke as a toxic air contaminant which can cause serious illness, and in January 2009, the California Second Court of Appeals ruled an apartment tenant can sue their landlord for failing to restrict cigarette smoking in common outdoor areas, which includes outdoor eating areas, on the grounds that tobacco smoke can be considered a public nuisance. I believe the Los Angeles City Council sees trends like this and takes preventive measures to protect its citizens and its interests. This issue is a public health issue, and it should be passed to protect all the public. Thank you.
Schiller.
My name is Esther Schiller. I'm executive director of an advocacy organization called Safe Smoke-Free Air for Everyone. Thank you for considering this ordinance. Thank you for being the champion. There are many people in our communities who suffer from chronic illnesses. 1 in 9 have been diagnosed with asthma. 1 in 5 suffer from some kind of heart condition, including high blood pressure. A lot of people are cancer survivors or being treated for cancer. When they're smoking on an outdoor patio, it becomes not accessible to a lot of these folks. If the patio is in the front of the establishment, people have to walk through the smoke to get inside. We've all had the experience of being in a place where people are smoking, even outside, and the smoke sticks to your hair and your clothing and stays with you. You get in your car and you say, oh my God, I didn't smoke in this car, but it reeks of tobacco smoke. So the ordinance will also help the wait staff, especially the wait staff, who won't be forced to breathe tobacco smoke in order to make a living. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members of the public, Mr. City Attorney, what I'd like to ask is, I wanted to, take a field trip with Mr. Smith's deputy, Mr. Lee, with anyone who's signed the card, anybody who wants to come. And I want to go through some businesses on the street. Mr. Lee's here now. I'm sorry, were you in the back? On the phone?
No.
Playing cards?
My tardiness.
Playing Twitter?
Appearance, I was at an important civic event.
Oh, wow, that's what I used to say. I used to go check out the noise complaint at Elysian Park. I know that old trick. You're on Figueroa making sure the street was clean. I hope. Okay.
Absolutely, Councilman. John Lee.
You left your badge on there, and you're going to go right to jail there. See the purple. Okay.
John Lee, Chief Legislative Deputy for Councilman Greg Smith. I apologize I wasn't here to hear all the comments today. I know that both sides of this ordinance, the tobacco control organizations and plus the restaurant owners have both been working closely with our office and working closely together. And we're very happy with the ordinance that's before us today. We understand that the Restaurant Association has a few of their additional concerns that we'd like to. I mean, this has been a process where there are several people in this audience that have my cell phone number now, so
Good.
That we've been working very closely. So something that I'd like to be able to.
I got that. What I'd like to do is go forward, but
I agree.
Before we go forward, I want to go with the city attorney, with the building and safety, with the fire inspector, with all of you who signed cards or anyone else who may want to come.
Yeah, I believe the ordinance should move forward.
Yeah.
Council.
But I want to go to Larchmont. I want to stop on Wilshire Boulevard. I want to go to some establishments on Vermont, do anything in the valley, wherever it is, and walk in and look at the lay of the land and say, how is this going to be enforced? And how are we going to make it right? And given the opportunity to, on the enterprise issue, people do have free enterprise, and I think the suggestion to look at the ABC licenses helps quite a bit, because I think Ms. Schiller said it best, when you're walking, and if you're a family or a child. Today, during the Laker thing, there was a guy smoking, there's a whole big crowd right around it. He wasn't a player, but he was a fan on the sidewalk. And I said, all he had to do was walk 20 feet back, but he wanted to stand there. Consideration is so important. So what I'd like to recommend, and if my deputy, Ms. Schechter, could take note of this, that if we could coordinate with everyone a time within the next 2 weeks, that we could, or less, that we could go take a field trip. We'll get 2 city vans. We'll meet outside of the city hall, so you don't have to come back there and have fight traffic. And then we'll, just go to some restaurants that we may know or not know and say, how does it look? Because I think also the representative spoke that they want to make it clear when out there how it is enforced, not that it has to be something that's ambiguity. Is that the word that you mentioned as well? Excuse me, I forgot your name. Right there on the second row, third person in. Not Alicia. No. Yes. You didn't know that. Right. Madam Clerk, roll back the tape. I think she did use the word. So. What do you think, Ms. Schechter? Do you think we could do that?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, good. So I'm going to move this on to council, though, because I think it's worked through a lot of issues. But, Madam Clerk, tell me what I need to do. The
For
schedule.
clarification, the chair is recommending approval of the ordinance,
Approve of the ordinance.
and it will be pending scheduling in council
Right.
until your office
Yeah.
notifies.
Now, when we all go out there, Mr. Berger and everyone, and if we see something glaringly wrong that we can't kind of figure out, then we're going to have to correct it. But I really want to go out there with the ordinance, and those who run the businesses, and say, because the time has come, in essence. The time has come to figure out how to do what's right. And I know people enjoy smoking, but I think the advocates want people to enjoy their lives in the long run more, and nothing personal to anybody who may enjoy a cigar or a cigarette or something of this nature here. But I think that's the prudent thing to do. We have a message there. Okay, good, very good. And so we're going to move forward. We do have your cards filled out, but if anyone would like to be called, if the city attorney who handles tobacco wants to be called, we'll get 3 vans, whatever the case may be, but we'll walk in at a non-conflicting hour and just to see. And we especially want to have input from the business community who would know, and maybe there's something that we could make even stronger than make everybody work, being out there in the practicality. So that being said, not scheduled, but we could send this forward to council, recommend approval with I got to clear when we get out there and see it. Please meet Ms. Schechter in the rear of the room. She has her Laker purple on today. And as you do too, good job there. All right. Any other questions? Anybody?
Is there a comp tab that goes with the party bus?
No. None of that. All right, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.